All right, AMG Hobby Talk number 90. We've got a Mike Modano jersey, and we got bonus Blair. How are you, Blair?
Fantastic. I thought I'd come from the attic. I love being surrounded by stuff. And there's
Indeed.
stuff back there. I thought that was
You
Mike
do.
Modano. Thought that was
Yeah, I
Mike
was going to say,
Modano there
like
for a minute.
a
Yeah.
splitting image. You can barely tell the difference. It's
A
unbelievable.
bearded,
But yeah,
a bearded Mike Modano.
I don't know if he can
yes.
grow one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not really. I think more stubble than anything else. I think that's
Yeah.
basically during the hockey playoffs. I think it's about as far as it went. So, collector the scalps, real Steve. How are you?
I'm very well this morning.
Excellent. Steve showcasing one of the different autographed jerseys that are available at AMG. Reach out for availability and pricing. Same thing.
Yeah.
We were kind of laughing about that.
Nice
All
plug.
different autograph things. Yeah. Listen, we got to get the plugs in where we can. That's if we're not going to do it at the AMG podcast, we're never going to do it. So we got to have
Right.
that in there. So we definitely got that. This week, I will tell everybody that this week's product is going to be the MVP product, the brand new MVP. And I'll go do a quick recap of it as we always do. We'll showcase a couple of cards that came in the shop. We'll talk about that. This is National Week, so it is the week of the National. Brad will be taken off there. So maybe next week, maybe we can get a little bit of a report from the ground, get a couple of details or at least some notes based on the National. So we'll see how that one goes. And then I've got a question for Steve related to the National, so we can have a quick moment about that. Otherwise, it'll be a lot of the usual thing. We'll share some cards that came in the shop. And obviously, right now, summertime, this stuff's going in. Blair's got a card. It's like, listen, it's just crazy times out here. It's a lot going on. Yes. So real quick, I'll just give reminders for everybody. Obviously, came and went the Trade Night and Card Show. It is the end of the month, but last week was the Trade Night and Card Show. So I'm going to ask a question to both of you. How was the Trade Night? How was the Card Show? How were those things?
Trade night, they're a little bit slower in the summertime, of course, on a Friday night. A lot of people have better things to do, but it was
spend
still
their time with us.
Exactly. It was still steady, and right now it's been a little Pokemon heavy, but yeah. So the it went well, and then the show was sold out again, and the crowd actually the crowd was heavier than I thought it would be. You never know again in the summer, but they came early, and it went well, and lots of positive feedback too from both buyers and sellers.
Very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So it's always good. And in that same vein, we talked about this, but the shows are going to continue through the summer into the fall. So we do have dates going all the way through November. Obviously, we'll give you reminders in the next couple of weeks as we start heading into the next show and trade night, but it's usually towards the end of the month. Last Friday and last Saturday, generally speaking, and you're going to notice that when we go through the different dates as we get closer towards the end of the month. But we'll give you all reminders of that, but also keep tabs on the social medias. So if you look in the description, you can check out the different social medias. I put there on the scrolling ticker the Instagram, but also the website. If you follow the social medias, you get the reminders, you get the dates, you'll get the graphics that'll show all that. But we'll still give you the reminders on the podcast regardless. Now let's get into here. We did have a couple of comments last week. We had Steve's favorite commenter. I'll stick straight to the questions for this one. But first one is actually from C Michaud was, do you ever see any more of the exhibit cards?
Is it?
I mean, of course, the hockey made them. Baseball, I guess we'll assume he's asking about hockey. It's actually been a while since I've had any of those. They are extremely tough to find, and of course, the years are passing by. So, they're going on 70 years old now, sometimes a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
The answer to that, no. Seen any come in, Blair?
Not in hockey or base. I'm actually, I think I did a little stint on one of our podcasts, but I have some autographed baseball, so I'm trying to. Obviously, rookie cards are a little expensive for the guys I have, so I've been trying to find some baseball to go with one. I did find one mantle for my mantle baseball. But yeah, locally, really tough, even in baseball, and never see the hockey. So I have some eyes going to the National, so maybe they can find me a couple there.
I'm trying to figure out what that hand gesture was. That's what's confusing.
I don't know. I didn't want to do this, but maybe I should have done that.
And actually, now that you mentioned that, on Saturday, a gentleman came in. He actually showed me pictures, and I actually wasn't familiar with these exhibits, but I think they're from 1921 to 24 baseball. So
they're old.
Yeah, so I was like, at first I assumed he was just talking about the the late '40s ones, but
Right.
they were from an exhibit set that I wasn't familiar with, nor was I familiar with the players. The exhibits he showed me were
Wow.
commons, but
Mm.
yeah, so definitely I told him bring them back. I'd love to have a look at them in person, but
Mhm.
at least I saw a picture of some. That's about
Yeah, yeah.
all we
I've
can do.
never seen those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
good question. I'm
Mm.
glad you asked. So we got that on there. Steve's personal favorite commenter, Hockey 99. So I'm gonna skim through a lot of this, but we'll get into it. He showed love for Steve, of course, as always. Then he says, I
Oh,
normally not endless love. I don't normally dabble in the aftermarket auto purchasing, but recently thought of doing so. Scumbags creating these fake autos have dissuaded me from ever buying an aftermarket auto. We were talking about the autograph thing. It's too
mhm.
easy to forge. I enjoy this hobby, but the continuing problem that plagues the hobby is unskilled in life savory characters that attempt to scam people. AMG and its staff are a value add for the community. All love, nothing but love. So comment and then a question at the end, which actually will take me briefly into a segue here. I was recently researching Prism hockey cards. My conclusion is they will always and forever be second fiddle to Upper Deck in hockey when it comes to demand and value. Am I correct, open to being wrong? So I'll quickly touch on this one. You're technically correct, but technically correct because Prism hockey from Panini only had the license for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So like they didn't really have a chance to make a foothold. As in contrast to like football or baseball or those other ones, Prism barely got out of the blocks. All the Panini brands barely got out of the blocks.
Yeah.
They were. I think it was Hockey got it just before Prism really started to take off. It would have been interesting to see what a Panini Prism would look like in the 2020s or in 2025.
Yeah.
I actually think they would have done very well. Um, Much love to Upper Deck, but I do think if a Prism was available or something like that, like a licensed Prism, I actually think it would make a very compelling offering for a lot of people. But obviously, the
Yeah.
run they had was predates the COVID period. It predates the run up to it. Today, what Prism is wasn't what Prism was when that hockey was. After the fact, there are a lot of folks that are chasing after those limited Prism sets that were out there, and the gold Prisms and all that do draw some interest. Like if you've got some of the good names, people are interested. But it was a very limited run. They never really got a chance to see
Yeah.
what it would have looked like in the current day if that had been available. So yes, technically, but also they didn't get a full shake to actually see how that would have gone.
I agree,
I,
and I was
I
kind
agree.
of I was always a vintage guy until I started working in the store, so I kind of missed the Prism craze when it came out. But they are nice looking cards, and I believe we have a nice Ovechkin in the showcase here too. But yeah, I mean you nailed it on the head with your explanation.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard, like you said, it's hard to know what it would have been because they didn't have that chance. So
Yep.
we're
Not
Upper
long
Deck
enough.
and
We
other
would have
guys.
had to see a couple more sets, and then would have been interesting to see what it would have looked like. I think it might have been
Hmm.
a very interesting competition between the two. It might have forced Upper Deck to up their game a little bit if they had kind of
Hmm.
had that a little longer, just to see how it would have reacted to it. The last question here was kind of related to what I was going to quickly, briefly touch on. How many people tried to sell Hulk Hogan cards to the store this week? So obviously, Hulk Hogan passed away. Also, Ryan Sandberg. That one was
Just
actually found about yesterday.
I saw that this morning. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
R.I.P. Ryan Sandberg. I will say, I was talking with the guys. I am the wrestling guy around here, but and it was funny because on a live stream that I do, people did ask about the Hogan thing, and I had to kind of defer to the old saying, like if you got nothing nice to say, I don't have too much nice to say about Hulk Hogan, and I'm not really Steve the kind of person who is like when somebody passes away, if I don't have much nice to say about them, I don't suddenly pretend they're
Yeah,
an angel and kind of
yeah.
absolve them of things that I don't care for. But I'm also not going to, and this is important, I'm not going to discount them because for a lot of people, it was their childhood. That was like a childhood figure for them. So I'm not going to disrespect that by then going on a whole rant about the things that my thoughts about Hulk Hogan were noted, like in the past. So my thoughts haven't changed on the guy in this situation. However, I can acknowledge he was critical to building the
Hmm.
WWE, then
Yeah.
WWF, into the powerhouse it became in the 80s. The powerhouse they are today would not be there without going on the back of folks like Hulk Hogan. He was the torchbearer. He was one of those guys, and he contemporary to Macho Man Randy Savage, the Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, and a lot of those great characters in the 80s.
Hmm.
But he was the torchbearer. He was the number one guy. that kind of built that. And then he went to
Yep.
WCW, the NWO. Like there's a lot of big legacy things in wrestling that he
Yep.
did. So you have to respect that. And I think you do. You know, he was a not swell fella in other elements of his life. But you can't discount his impact on that industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned, like, I'm not a big fan of, you know, what happened with Johnny Goodrow there last year, you know, when they pass away, you know,
Yeah.
people immediately trying to profit off their
Yep.
passing. So,
True.
you know, we have a 1-on-1 Hulk Hogan autograph in the store. It was there before he passed. It's there now. The price hasn't changed.
The same price.
Yeah, and I get it. You know, some people take advantage of it, but that's just not my style. But yeah, and I was a huge Hogan fan as a kid, and then as I got older, you know, you just learn to appreciate different things. Like, he wasn't a good wrestler when I was a kid. I probably didn't know any better, but you know, he definitely, with the hype and the trash talking and saying your prayers, taking your vitamins, that sort of thing. When I was younger, 100% bought into it. And then as I got older, you know, started to appreciate the actual wrestling side of it. So, you know, like Hitman Hart was good. And even someone like Shawn Michaels, love him or hate him, he could sell a match. But yeah, can't take away what, you know, Hogan meant to this industry.
Absolutely. Now I did share with the guys, but I'll quickly show. I've got one CGC graded kind of item, which is thematically appropriate based on what we're talking about there. So that's WrestleMania 6. That was the first one in Toronto they did. Now the thing is, this right here, the early run. Like if you go back, I said a moment ago. Number one, I got this because honestly, again, this was the first one in Toronto. I remember watching this one. I watched it a little bit after the fact because I was just starting to watch wrestling, and I certainly didn't have the opportunity to watch the early pay-per-views in the early years of my wrestling watching. However, Jumbo Video, you know, basically a video store that they had all the WrestleManias on VHS. So I got to watch all the early WrestleManias on VHS. We'd go there, we'd have popcorn. Carlos Sr. would grab my brother and I popcorn, and we could grab a tape and a video game and stuff like that. And I watched all the early WrestleManias on old Jumbo Video, including WrestleMania 6. So it was the ultimate challenge. It was the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. The thing is, all the early WrestleManias, go look, Hogan is basically in the main event of all of them. You know, for quite a while there. Like right from WrestleMania 1 onward, he's in the main event constantly, including this one. So this was the big one because this was supposed to be the changing of the guard. This is where the Ultimate Warrior won. No, spoilers for people from 35 years ago. So Ultimate Warrior won in the main event in Toronto. This was supposed to be a big launch off. Ultimate Warrior is supposed to take over for Hogan as the number one guy going forward. Didn't quite work out that way. Hogan hung around a little bit. But then, going again, complex legacy, WrestleMania 9 was his last championship win before he later on returned. Bret the Hitman Hart, to Steve's point, was in that main event, but then he lost to Yokozuna in the main event. And then, you know, dastardly behavior. And then all of a sudden, in a convoluted way, even though he wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form, somehow Hogan got in a title match, a random title match because the heel, you know, the Yokozuna is an idiot and decided to give him a title match after he just won the title in that show. And then Hulk Hogan winds up with the championship at WrestleMania because of course he did. He wasn't even he wasn't even supposed to be. He was already on that show earlier in the show. Why he gets to suddenly get the title at the end of the show? Why not?
Okay. Legacy.
Sure, exactly. So that's the kind of stuff that led to some of Hogan's reputation as being somebody who constantly put themselves in the limelight. Even if, again, Bret the Hitman Hart was on the ascend. That was his first kind of run. Yeah. And then there could have been a program back and forth. But, you know, Bret the Hitman Hart completely fine. Oh, yeah, Hogan, you know, take the spotlight. It's like, why? You've already had your run, sir. You've had a very good run, a very long run. Yeah. That was kind of the thing with that. Again, a complex legacy. Let's just say a complex legacy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
So good stuff on that. Thought I would spend a couple of moments and talk about that. But yes, rest in peace to Hogan for those folks that did have him as somebody, and he was an iconic character and one of the first crossover stars from that genre. So credit to him on that.
Yeah.
So let's go into it. Got that from there. Thanks everybody for the comments. Appreciate it. Again, you're more than welcome. If you've got a question that you'd like us to address, we can touch on it. So feel free to put that in the comment section. Otherwise, if it's more time sensitive and you really need a direct response, use the contact points we talked about. Reach out to the store for pricing, availability on whatever. And that's usually the best way to let us know what you have in mind. All right. Now let's get into it here. There are going to be some things that are going to come in the store. As I mentioned, Upper Deck MVP Hockey, and it is 25-26 MVP. So it's a brand new one.
First product. Yeah.
Exactly. First opportunity to check out some of the new rookies because some of them are going to be in there. And inexpensive, all things considered. You can check out the pricing at the store, but reasonably priced, especially compared to some of the stuff that you have in there. And I'll show you basically what's in there. And we do have various Pokemon ones. I'll quickly read through the list there. If there's anything worth noting at the end, just feel free to let us know, but I'll quickly go through it. Pokemon Surging Sparks booster display. It just says WV5. I don't know if that means anything. Surging Sparks booster bundle. WV4. Unova Victini illustration collection. Not sure what that is. Black Ball tech sticker collection, White Flare tech sticker collection, and Destined Rivals booster bundle. Easy for me to say, easy for me to read, but it's
yeah. A couple of them are just those black and whites. They're the next continuing in the latest release, and then the other ones are just restocks, but nice to have them again. Surging Sparks, that's been selling really well when we've had it. We haven't had it for maybe a month or two. I can't remember. So those are restocks, and then the Destined Rivals restock there. So we just sold out of that the weekend. So it'd be nice to get that back again for our Pokemon brethren.
Ooh, the brethren.
You're
in there with them. Now, I'm not only impressed by that. Blair has now joined. How do you do, fellow kids? He's in with the brethren. I like it.
I've never used that in a sentence ever. So well done, Blair.
That's my first time.
I appreciate. We're all expanding our horizons, Steve. We're all growing as people here. I love it. So good stuff. Thank you, Blair. So real quick, I'll go through a couple of cards that came in the store. One of them is actually carryover from last week. I had it on the list, and for some reason it didn't come up when I was pulling it up, but I'll share it real quick. If you have any questions about availability and pricing on this, same thing. Reach out directly to the store. That is the best way to get any answers on that. But quickly, I'll share a few of these with you. First one. This is the one for carryover from last week. It was a Cooper Flag from 2024 Bowman Chrome University. It was the Black Wave in a PSA time. So we got the Cooper Flag here. So that was one. And then we got some nice vintage stuff here. So Steve, these were the ones that Steve was kind of mentioning. He did kind of show off a couple of them. So I'll zoom in a little bit. Is there any one of these in particular you want to note, Steve? There's some good ones. And we got a nice image here with a bunch. So, and I do like, the images there. You got nice Americans there with the goalie equipment and everything. So that's a pretty solid looking images there for these ones.
Yeah, so was able to do a deal for approximately 100 1939 and 40 O-Pee-Chee singles, and of course they're oversized. They're really clean, like these. And I've listed some on eBay, and I stated right in the listing, they're gonna grade like PSA 2 to 5 range, even though they present really nice and look nicer. There's so much paper, and the stock's not super strong that you get little like thumbnail indentations on the paper, and that the backs are blank, but from a grading standpoint, they're only going to grade so high. But the visual appeal of them, just like in the scan, is fantastic. And I believe Turk Broda borrowed Blair's suit for this picture,
and I have not got it back yet.
No,
that's unfortunate. That's really problematic.
Very it's a great looking suit. Yeah.
Yes, no doubt.
These are tough though. Steve's right. That's the 40s there, with a little different tone to the color, but it's just such a super thin paper stock that and again, that's why if you do find these in high grade, they cost quite a bit, but they're just a little bit of a tough grade, but still, overall, like really nice shape looking at them. Minor things here and there, but I've had a crack at grade in a couple of these. I've picked up some just because I like the photo images, like photos in different magazines and stuff, but graded a couple and they came back pretty low, but I still wanted to grade them. A couple of rookies and 2s and 3s, so tough for the grading, but they present a lot nicer than that.
Yeah, and these are a little bit like beehives. Some of the just common guys that really don't book for that much sell for a lot, just because they're a little bit harder to find than a Turk Broda or Milt Schmidt, that sort of thing. So I haven't had them in a while, so it's been kind of fun to see the demand for a random player over a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Very nice. And one of the things you can note from these images is kind of fun seeing the ones like this Milt Schmidt here. He's got kind of a halo going around him. So obviously you got the
Yeah.
pose, but literally they created kind of this little halo. And also, I have serious questions about what Alex Singbush is dealing with. Like, what's going on over there?
Well, it was a late night at the pub, I think.
Little suspicious. I'm just saying. First person I'd
Yep.
suspect that there's some trouble. Here's a nice stack of 1954 Topps baseball. Pretty good. Got a nice grouping of them. I do like also that they include the Ed and John O'Brien. So you got the, the pair there, the brothers. That's kind of a classic card on there, but a lot of nice images.
Yeah.
Looks like a pretty clean group of cards there. Condition wise, Steve, where do you think these kind of hang out?
Yeah, there's about 150 of them. Again, no huge cards, although that one you mentioned, I actually had never seen it before, and it's got great eye appeal. So I don't expect that one to last too long, but they range in grade from VGEX to X Mint. So I'm still pricing them out. We've been so busy getting other things done here, but they're going to range in price probably from like $5 to $20. So it's a great little grouping of vintage baseball.
Very nice. And one kind of a quick side note is one of the things that's been very interesting for me in the time we've been doing these, and I've actually been legitimately impressed. And kudos to you guys in the Maritimes. I've been consistently impressed with the sheer amount of both vintage and some obscure stuff that is hanging out over there. It's like you're all holding out on us. I see what's going on over there.
That's what we do out east.
Yeah. Listen, I see you. I see you, Blair. I see you, what you guys are doing over there.
It's no, it amazes me sometimes because you don't hockey, but and we've had some really interesting hockey items come through too.
Yeah.
But just like for that many of that year to kind of come through the door, as a say in Newfoundland, what odds about the grade? Just to have that many come through the door here is pretty cool.
Part of me, I would love to know the story about how some of this stuff wound up over there and in volume. Like the volume is impressive. Obviously, if somebody's putting together a collection, they bought it from whatever sources they bought it from, whatever. But I do find like I've been very impressed, legitimately. Like sometimes Brad will show me some stuff, and I'll be like, "Where the heck did that come from?" And it'll be something that just came in there, and you guys are obviously one store there, but at the same time, it's like that stuff's there. So obviously somebody comes in with it, and it's very interesting. Some of the stuff has been legitimately impressive. So very cool.
Yeah, I think we've got built a good working relationship with our customer base too. Try to be as fair as we can when buying collections, and we kind of tell them straight up what the percentage is. And I think just word of mouth spreads as well. Obviously, you can't please everyone, but we try to make every experience as good as we can. So I like to think it's how we do business. That gets us turned on to some of these collections. So I thank everyone out there that I guess you can say likes dealing with us. But again, for every deal that's completed, there's one that isn't, or sometimes you can butt heads with buyers and sellers, but that's business in general.
Sounds good. So I'll zip through a couple of these because I want to have a couple of minutes at the end to go into MVP. So I'll go quickly through a few of these. 2019 Upper Deck Nick Suzuki, the high gloss, number to 10. So that's nice. And it's in a PSA 8 because it looks like the corner is touched on it. But again, it is the out of 10 high gloss. So that is a tougher one. So beggars can't be choosers on there when it's pretty limited. And that one's a tougher one.
Right.
If you're a collector, this might still provide a value for you. Obviously, given it's not a 9 or a 10, maybe you can get a couple bucks off. So take a look if that's something that's of interest to you. To Tim Hortons, Nathan McKinnon autographed Timbits, which they kind of recreated the Timbits cards for this one. This is kind of one of those weird ones. Like, I know what they're doing, and obviously they're doing it based on a card. It is hand numbered to 100, so kind of interesting if you want a kind of a unique Nathan McKinnon autograph. This would definitely qualify.
Yep.
So here we got from Allure, we got Jeremy Swayman. So this is a 1/1 Golden Treasures. So very nice on that one. Obviously, you got the little golden swirls on it. Very interesting. I don't know what year that one is, but it's one of the recent seasons on it. But a good looking card. I do like kind of the gold with that design on there. That's solid.
Yep.
We got a Wayne Gretzky autograph here out of 5. And that is kind of retro version. So kind of redoing kind of the look of I think it's the 52, 53 is kind of what they were going for with design and look on this one.
Yeah,
Yep.
and this was actually a Saturday pickup, and kind of what I touched on earlier about having a good working relationship with our local customers. A gentleman actually had this on his table, priced at the show, and when I was walking by, he kind of approached me and said he I don't know if he thought it was a facsimile autograph, or he didn't
That's
notice
what
the
we
one of
think.
or he did notice the one of five, but he just kind of said, I think I might be a little light on this, and can you can you shed some light on it? So um, it's a gorgeous card. Anyway, I think
Yeah.
I gave him uh, do the math, about 9
400.
times
Yes.
what he had on the card. So
Hmm.
I I paid up for the card. Of course, he was happy because I was honest with him. His wife was thrilled, and when I went to hand the money to him, she actually grabbed it because she was irritated at him for what he actually had on the card. But
Yeah.
and he's a good customer, so he'll
Yeah.
remember that, and hopefully he passes it on to a few other people that might be looking to sell. But yeah, we're in it to make a buck just like anyone else, but fair is fair. And
Yeah.
I came up on the card and did a little research for him, and he was happy. And it's a great card for the store, and I just love, like, it's a great image on the card.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, to your point, since you brought it up, is that I like you got the retro design. I like that they went with an old school Gretzky old jersey with the Jofa helmet, so kind of very appropriate to go with
Yeah.
the retro design, go with the retro jersey. Nice spot for the on card auto there, so that's pretty good on that one. I think overall the design, the aesthetic is nice. Like if you are somebody who's looking for like a Gretzky auto, it is nice to have those other elements with it, and I don't think they use that image all the time. So I like that they at least found an image that hasn't been, beaten to the ground with it. So very
Yeah.
nice on that one. And to finish off, speaking of the old jerseys, gotta have a 7980 O-Pee-Chee, PSA 5, rookie card on there. So we finish off with a pair of Gretzky's with a couple of the old jerseys as well. All right, so pretty good combination of stuff. So thank you for that.
Yep.
Well done. So real quick, I think I think we're right on time. So I'll quickly go over MVP. We'll skip the national talk on this one. We'll carry it over to next week. We'll see if
Yeah.
Brad's got any report for us on the ground, but we'll do the MVP one to finish things off. Again, if you're curious about pricing or availability on everything, just reach out directly to store. Use the content points, including the description. All right, I mentioned earlier, this is 2526 Upper Deck MVP. We'll include a link in the description here for the checklist so you can check it out and look at it for yourself. Really simple set a lot of times. I'll go over a couple of
Yep.
specific things on it, but it is kind of a fun one. If you just want to build a little checklist, build a set for yourself, it's a decent break for it. Again, relatively reasonably priced, all things considered, especially today's market, considering how expensive some of the boxes can be. If you just want yourself a nice set builder set with some decent inserts in it, this is not a bad choice. I'll show a couple of things related to it. Your base set is 250 cards. The final 50 of them are short prints. So you got SPs and rookies that are every other pack. So it means it gives you at least a little bit, so you don't just finish a set in one box. The idea is to give you a little bit of a challenge, but it's also one every other hobby pack. So it's not like it's super duper short print to the point they're making it
Mhm.
impossible. So it gives you a chance to kind of move some cards around and pick up some singles and put it together. Otherwise, you can kind of see what the base design looks like. It is meant to be kind of a straightforward. This is kind of your base product, like kind of the old UD Choice and stuff like that. MVP, it kind of takes that role. That's what
Yeah.
it's designed for. And you'll see a couple of inserts that play into that. This is kind of meant to be like a product that you can open with kids and stuff as well, that you can kind of have some fun with. That's the intention with a lot of the way this is designed. You got the silver scripts in 1 in 5 packs, kind of traditional. The superscript out of 25, that's a classic. The black superscript, 1 of 1s and printing plates, so that is available. There are gold script versions, but those are in retail blasters, so bear that in mind. Here's an example of what the gold script looks like.
Mhm.
So Austin Matthews on that one. So you've got that there. There are redemptions for players debuting in 25-26. The redemptions are 1 in 400 packs. So it is a tougher pull if you get one of these.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have autograph or memorabilia cards. It is meant to be a very straightforward set. It's inserts and base and different parallels, of course. But that's what it's designed for. You've got contours. You've got gold versions out of 250 with green out of 20 and purple out of 3. So you've got some different combinations you can kind of chase after. Example here, given out of 20. And then you've got a brand new insert here, laser focus inserts. They're all serial numbered. Red number 399, blue out of 99, and purple out of 10. So this is an example of a purple from Jordan Binnington. That could be interesting. I'd be curious to see what that looks like in hand. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And here, so here you got mascot stickers and mascot battle. So you can get yourself a Yuppie card. So it is, like I said, meant to be kind of a fun, light, kind of a kid's product. That's why you got mascot stickers in there. So if you want to work on your Yuppie Super PC, this is your chance. You can pick up a couple of Yuppie cards. You got coming to your rink, 1 to 7 packs, 2 players from the same team using a movie poster style layout. Very straightforward, but it works. It's good enough. And then we've got inserts like Net Presents, Rising to the Occasion 1 to 6 packs, and Hello, My Name is stickers based on the name tags. So we got that on there. And basically what you're looking at is this. Your hobby, you're looking at 8 cards per pack, 20 packs in a hobby box. There's 20 boxes in a case. Your 250 card base set, like I said. And what to expect? Coming to your rank, mascot battle, net presence, or rising to the occasion. Those inserts, 10 total in a box. Hello, my name is, or mascot stickers, 4 of those total in a box. Silver script parallels, 5 of those in a box. 10 base short prints in every box. And additional rare inserts or parallels, 1 total per box. Fairly straightforward, pretty standard. Not too many inserts, not too many parallels. You can pretty much figure it out. This checklist is very understandable. You can kind of follow through what you expect on it. Here's the full checklist, and you can check it out for yourself. Inserts and look at by team. Very straightforward, very simple. Not much I can add on that one. MVP is one of those ones to give you an early shot at some of those new players, so you can get that as part of the checklist. If you collect different folks, you can put together a quick group. The superscript out of 25 is not easy, but it's not impossible. You can definitely find it out there, especially after release. So if you're looking at grabbing a couple of cards of your favorite player or players, have at it.
And like always, it's a great product for the younger generation, those that are just getting started. Because often, too, parents will come in with their children looking for something inexpensive, and we don't always have that because of the price of some of the products. So this is, the product where you can buy it for, I don't know, $3 or $4 a pack, that sort of thing. And, let the kids have fun. And there are some, collectors that love putting the set together every year just because it is it's an attainable set and an affordable set.
It's a fun way to stay in the hobby, because like Steve said, a lot of it is tougher, especially if you start chasing, patchy autograph goodness. So this one's a very collectible product for sure. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good descriptor. Honestly, it is. I was just saying, like, I don't want to make it seem like we're not enthusiastic about it. It's just straightforward. I think a lot of these I have to spend a lot of time explaining. It's very complex. The good news about MVP is that it is as straightforward as I made it sound. The inserts are there. The ratios are understandable. There's a handful of parallels if you want to collect those. Not bad at all. You do have some short printed cards, but it's one every other pack, so it's not too egregious. Like I can guarantee if some folks open up boxes and AMG has some singles, you can probably put together your set 1 to 250. And then you have yourself a complete set of some players from the new year. This is one of the first new sets of 25-26. So it lets you get in on that. So if you're eager for some of the new stuff, this is the new one. And it gives you a chance to get some of those.
And it is, like you said, the new, so that the young kid, Schaefer, the number 1 pick, Matthew? I forget his first name. Sorry. Anyway, he seems, I know people say, a number 1 pick, he doesn't have a lot of so-called hype. But watching the draft and stuff and listening to his story, he seems like a pretty awesome kid, having lost his mom just a couple of years ago. So he seems like he's got his head on right, and I think he could be a really good, solid NHL player. So it's a chance to get and there was some other guys which I forget their names right off the top of the bat, but I did watch the draft. But
Blair,
he's
how fortunate that if you follow the link in the description, it will give you the checklist and you can find out exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Good
Pretty
point.
good.
Yeah.
And, this is what I do. So, guys, I'm going to get you out on time. So right now we're good. We're right on time. Next week we'll touch on a little bit of the national. We'll see what comes out of it. If any great headlines or anything come out of it, we'll discuss it. If you got any questions, anything that's not time sensitive, feel free to put it in the comment section. Any thoughts on anything, we can talk about it some more. You can get some of Steve's recommendations for wonderful jerseys that you can find. So he's got the jerseys in the store.
It's
Very
cool
exciting
collection.
stuff. Yeah.
Little mystery card maybe for next week then.
Yeah, save that one for next week because we'll actually get a chance to show. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that one. But for Bonus Blair and Steve, Collector Scalps, Collector the People, episode 90 in the books. 10 more, Steve, for 100.
Do we retire at 100 or?
I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we just do disco night and we just blow something up. I think that's maybe how we finish with big explosion. We'll find out. We'll think about it. We got 10
like
episodes
that.
to figure it out. So for myself and everybody at AMG, thank you very much. We'll catch you in the next one.